Bowling Green, excuse my voice here. Bowling Green's, I want to commend them on a really good season. I've known Eric Nichols a long time, Mike Diamond, Columbus, Ohio. He's a good coach, he's a good man, and he has a really good culture in his team. We knew this would be a dogfight today. And I also felt that, maybe they felt they had the advantage, and with the conditions being a team, it's a little bit maybe more physical game in and game out, and I was really proud of our guys. I thought we dug in, I thought, to a different level today, and had to change a little bit of how we played and adjusted, and that's tournament. It's tournament play. You got to find a way, and the way they play is obviously very difficult with the conditions today with the high line. So any ball behind the back's got, we just used the wrong club a lot in the first half, and picked and choose maybe at the wrong times to get behind them. But I want to commend Bowling Green, outstanding team. I knew this was going to be one hell of a game. I thought our team, again, I was really just proud of just their commitment to do the little things well, and that was really great to see. And this is one of my favorite weeks as a coach, personally. Thanksgiving with the team. There's no classes this week, so the distractions, everything is all about, finding that other gear within your team and fine-tuning and spending a lot of time together. We just have a lot of good joy. So I'm just excited to be with the group for another week, and hopefully we can extend this past next week.
Questions for Coach?
How did things change, and was it sometimes as simple as just maybe having a guy like Herb run with the ball rather than looking for those balls in behind?
Correct. You got to be a trap of color different ways, and one of it is the self-touches, and as you show maybe a slip ball, you continue. As they step, you go, and it's a little bit awkward at times to kind of put yourself in those spots, and yet Herb, as the game went, kind of realized those moments, as did a few other players. Our timing of their trap also got better as the game went on. We found a few more opportunities off of that. But yeah, it was, they're a tough team. They do what they do well, and their keeper was connected. Anytime we got behind him, he was there to make a play. But yeah, we changed a little bit our shape and how they were building. You saw us go much more man-to-man at times, and took every line away, and I think they were a little frustrated with that and didn't expect that. And that just shows our ability in the back to go one-for-one. I thought we adjusted to that super well. I think Joe and Ben in particular had a fantastic game.
Coach, this is likely to be your final home game. Obviously, Washington hasn't played yet, but they will tonight, and they're probably the favorite. Duke already won, and you haven't had to go on the road much since 2012. You've only been twice, but obviously this year you're going to be traveling most likely the next two rounds. How different is that going to be going forward, to not have the home games like?
We'll see what obviously happens tonight, and our team, they're just excited to play. Of course, home's great. We miss a lot of our students right now because of the break. So we saw obviously a smallest crowd that we've had this year in one of our biggest game. So that I totally understand. Our community came out, and I thought supported as well. I appreciate that. But going on the road, the guys will be excited if that's what happens tonight. If Washington were to win, I think none of us have been there to play. We have a lot of respect for their program. It's going to be a great challenge. So I think they're kind of excited to have that opportunity. Main thing is they're just excited to play. Keep going.
You had that goal for Victor. It kind of just fell your way off of the clearance. How big of a boost was that to get that one to kind of fall for you?
Huge. And we knew a ball might bounce around the 6 if we could get around the corners a little bit on them and hit some early balls behind their back line and put some pressure on them with clearance scenarios. And they did that late against us too. And Vic, once he gets a half chance like he's proven, he can change the game. And he was animated after he scored. We had some good exchanges at halftime. I got him going a little bit, which I said him to do at times with Vic. But he responded. I got a lot of love for that kid and his talent. And I think we obviously that goal changed the game. You saw them lose their dauber a little bit. I think they're not a team that maybe is used to coming back, from down goal scenarios, and they started going more direct. They moved their center back up high, who's a really talented player, one of the better players I've seen in this position. And we had to adjust bringing goals toward the end. We haven't done that, and we did our best. We lost a little territory. We got a little bit deep, but at that point, I just didn't want them to to get a free header or another player on a slip, because 5, I think, is one of the better players in the air I've seen. So we had to adjust.
Speaking of Vic, maybe it wasn't as many goals as he wanted to score in the regular season. There's some games where he wasn't finishing off things, and then it comes to the tournament, and obviously finishes off this one. How big is that for him, obviously, and then for you guys to be able to put more of a load on him?
Yeah, I mean, if there's one player getting a goal today was massive, it was Vic. He good goal scorers. It's no different than around the world. You find one, his play also shot up, and I got him a little bit in the first half because he was, some of the things he brings to our team, he was missing some passes and missing some opportunities to drive the ball and play a hot potato. I'm like, Vic, you're one of our most composed players. That can't happen. And so I thought when he scored, his best soccer then went up. And really he was getting a little bit of a cramp in the hamstring, and we were able to get him out. And some of our up goal shape doesn't necessarily have Vic on the field anyhow for some defensive reasons. So it worked out well, and he was there cheering the guys. Vic had a really good team, mentality today. And just really happy he scored, and I loved our second goal. I was, we've been asking Herb to just use a little bit more sophistication on that final pass, the weight, the distance. We do so many 3v2s in training to set those moments up, and that was the training field. I mean, Spencer coming off that left side, he used the exact club he needed to use. He took about 30% off his normal finish, and just absolute beauty. I really like that goal.
For the first half, a bit of a struggle. BG had a lot of possession, more of the pressing as well in your half. How did that change around in the second half?
Well, I mean, the game was a bit of a stalemate, right? In the first half, I mean, neither team was getting chances. It was really a game between the 18s. We were unable to kind of crack their code a little bit. At the same time, they were really cracking our code. So it was a stalemate, which was interesting because that's a turning field. I felt a restart. We created a couple great ones. You saw our chances off restarts. I thought we found a couple little nice scenarios against them and how they play, and that could have been the difference, and we didn't convert. But the game did open, and I knew that as the game went, we would make some adjustments at half with some tactical things, and the guys took it and they ran with it. And I thought as the game grew, we obviously created some more chances.
Coach, you changed the lineup up early in the game? You started Gumbale, it was, I think, and
Yep.
and then BB over Sesak, who started a lot. Was that decisions or was that injuries? What was thought on changing the starting
Tommy's been a little
lineup?
under the weather this week, and so we wanted to just go. And Maloon's had I'm trying to reward guys just with their training and their form. And because Tommy was a little bit down this week with illness, we went with Maloon and able to protect Tommy and get him a little more rest. I thought Maloon, he knows about half that starting lineup. He grew up in Ohio. There's a little extra edge you have when you're playing against some guys. And so I thought Maloon was just the right game to throw him in, and I thought he did a good job. And obviously we're able to get Tommy some rest, and he'll be ready for the next game. So it worked out really well.
And then how about BB over
That's one right
Sesak?
now is back and forth. So
Okay.
maybe depends on the team, maybe the week. We have ultimate confidence in both of them. We have 2 starting outside backs that, you saw BB rotate this year, Nick start. We might flip it next game. We might flip it around. We were talking about getting Nick in the game earlier, maybe move BB up a line. But BB was feeling it, so we ran with it. And we don't force changes, even though we have a couple things in mind. So it's a good situation for us to have both those guys available.
You brought in goals where they hadn't had a lot of minutes this season. Were you at all worried about the lack of minutes he had to put him in a match of such importance?
No, only because I think last year him getting his feet wet in the tournament was huge. We used him up the field as like a 9-10 late in the game, and then we used him on restarts, obviously coming back. We played him in his preferred position, which is he's a 6 center back is his preferred position, and it basically became a 5-back in a sense. We dropped him kind of central as a 6 kind of center back. So if Muni and Joey had to go help a little bit, we have another guy in the box that's big, strong, and largely once 5 went up is when we made the move. If 5 would have stayed in the back, I don't know if I would have put Andrew in as early. And then Johnny yellow cards, we were a little bit worried that Joe might get into a challenge, trying to get Joe off the field. Actually, that was why Nick was in the midfield, but we couldn't get him into there was no stoppage. And then when it's under 3 minutes, I'm not going to move the clock because the clock will stop at that point. But I thought Gold did a good job. He's been training and playing well, and the guys really like they love it when they see him go up and win a header. he's dominant, and they certainly probably weren't ready for him. The guy you haven't seen much this year.
It's kind of a cliche question, but this is a group that's obviously very familiar with this stage, very recently. Is there anything different in your mind as their coach about just what you see in their mentality, their approach, maybe the way they talk about things or vocalize things this time of year right now compared to where they've been recently?
We have some new youthful enthusiasm with the Tommies and Sammy and Patty and a couple guys that we don't usually have that many freshmen necessarily playing pretty big roles, and I think Spence back in the field kind of changed the feel of this team, and in the run we didn't have him, he was there supporting. And Roman and Muni and Joey, I think, are playing at a level they were last year, so it does feel a little different in a good way. And I think the group is getting tougher every kind of week, mental, physical, to handle the kinds of games you got to win maybe like this. It's a modern thing, it's a modern equity since the Lord. And the guys found a way to win the modern. So we'll take it.
Your goal scorers were a couple experienced guys. Was that something that you kind of planned on, I guess, the stage of the NCAA tournament after kind of relying on your freshman class early in the season?
With regards to some of our attackers,
Yeah.
we're confident. I mean, I think a couple of our guys were, maybe if we're going to the year, we maybe expect a few more goals based on kind of what we saw in preseason. But you like to go, when it's really tight, you like to go with a player that's been in some of these games. Maloon's that example. He played a lot in that run last year, and he's not intimidated in this game. He's excited. The other ones are excited and youthful, but Sammy's still learning how to kind of change the way he plays to adapt to that type of team, that style, and the physicality of those defenders was different, and Sammy's still maturing that way. So, and Tommy obviously we didn't use because he was under the weather. I would like to have seen Tommy today, but so yeah, no, I'm confident that they all are able to contribute in this run.
Anything else for Coach?